Oh, yeah. I Can't Drive 55. Written by the great Sammy Hagar with the great John Kalodner, one of the great A&R men in the history of rock and roll, in the video as the judge playing with the hangman. He was also the dude in The Dude Looks Like a Lady dressed up in drag with a big beard. And I say all this stuff about the number 55 because this is episode number 55 of Inappropriate Earl. And this might be the most controversial episode ever, even more so than the gangbang story at my buddy's house, who since committed suicide. So, Hot Tub Johnny, fond memories always. And but today is, this might be the thing that gets Inappropriate Earl to the masses, or at least to the open mic community. We have a joke thief in our midst, and it is this. I am like I'm a lot like Joe Rogan in a lot of ways. I'm physically fit, and that's about it, I guess. Me and Joe don't have a lot of similarities. He's successful, famous, multiple TV shows, black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I've got 2 memberships to 2 gay gyms. So that's, Joe, if you're out there, please, this is nothing but respect, because I'm not getting my ass kicked. We have this might be the second time you've been on Inappropriate Earl.
No, it's first.
All right. Well, that shows you how much I pay attention to
Yeah.
who's on the show. 55 episodes, guys. I can't remember them all. I mean, I know I had a few special edition episodes of me bombing at the Camarillo Moose Lodge with the recorder facing the opposite of the crowd. So I was actually killing, but it didn't sound like it. We've got Big Irish J. Hollinsworth,
Yes, sir.
co-creator, or the creator of the Hollinsworthless podcast.
Yes. And can you also make sure that it's known I'm not the joke thief, I'm the joke stolen from? What do you call it?
The joke
Victim?
Yeah, the victim. And this is, hopefully we retweet this, and this is being done on hockey NHL trade deadline day.
Oh, shit. Boston got... Sorry. I just saw that.
No, I'm going to announce trades periodically in the podcast, but this podcast is airing a week from now, so, pay no mind. Now, we're going to get right to the meat of the bone. By the way, the Tampa Bay Lightning have just acquired Braden Coburn for a couple picks from the Philly Flyers. You'll have a week to digest this when you get to this. Google it. And now we're going to get to the bone. A big introduction, because this is a big topic. If you read my tweets, attention LA Comics, you know one thing: Daddy keeps it real. Because I don't care about burning bridges in this business. Because I got more money than most open micers have friends. I got a big house. It's a condo in West Hollywood, fully paid off. While you guys were bumming gas to put in your car to get to high school or to Sal's Comedy Hole, I was selling out the belly room, brother. I paid my dues. So if you don't like my attitude, open micers, and you bringer show promoters, and you Johnny-come-latelys, suck it. Let's get to the topic at hand. All right. Do you want to do the joke? I mean, I know, and please don't do the joke expecting me to laugh.
Ugh.
I think it's important that...
you want me to give you the clip and you can just edit it in here? Or
I
do
can't do that.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not
Earl.
Red Band.
All right. I can just give you the gist of it. I don't want to fucking perform to
Tell me when you wrote it.
Yeah.
I'm setting you up, and I literally won't say a word for the next 5 minutes. When did you come up with the joke? When you first told it, and when do you think this guy saw it?
Sure. So this joke, I've been doing the joke it's probably been about 2 years now. I started, I recorded an album on St. Paddy's Day 2013, and then shortly after that, to try and generate new material, I started this thing. I own the domain jokeaweek.com. So I was like, all right, for every week for the next year, I'm going to post me working out a new joke, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. I'm trying to think how I originally came up with this joke. The idea of the joke is, I remember. I went and saw the movie 42, and I was with. Okay.
By the way, I laughed 100 times in that movie.
The movie 42?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think it's pretty clear.
Okay, gotcha. Because it's a comedy.
Not really. It's just a particular word is being used quite often.
Jackie?
It's close to that.
So, all right. So, in the movie, I went with my buddy and his wife, and during the movie, I was getting fucking emotional. I was like, Jesus Christ. And like, she noticed, and so we started talking about that, and I was telling her how, like, I don't know if girls know how sports movies get us as guys. And then, are we taking a picture here? Sorry. Was I not supposed to mention that? Why were you naked, dude? So I was telling her like, I don't know if unless girls played sports, I don't know if they understand how like sports movies get us. And I had, that was originally just about that. And I did a joke where I talked about that, but then it branched off into, well, what's movies that makes girls cry? And she was talking about The Notebook, which I saw The Notebook, and my take on it was like, girls say it's like the greatest love story ever, and from a guy's point of view, to me, it's just about a girl that's cheating on her fiance. So I made this whole joke that was
Been there.
What?
Been there.
Yeah. So in this joke I made up, so then I start looking at pretty much every movie that girls love, a guy is getting fucked over, like a girl is cheating on a guy. So that like in the joke, which you can go to my website, Big Irish J, if you want to see the joke being done. But
.com or .org?
.com, buddy. Also on jhollingsworth.com because I'm two-timing it.
What are you, Jackie the Joke Man with your plugs?
Yeah. But so in this joke, I basically basically explain what The Notebook, the premise of it is, and then the girl's like, "Oh, isn't that the greatest love story ever?" And I'm like, "Oh, the movie about the cheating whore." And then the crowd's like, "Oh God!" And then I list off. I'm like, I won't say that I understand women, but it appears that they seem to be happiest when a girl is either being a little bit slutty or a guy is getting totally fucked over. Because if you look at all the movies that girls love, that's the plot. You have The Notebook, it's about a cheating whore. Twilight, cheating whore. She's bouncing back and forth. Sleepless in Seattle. Chick was living with her fiance, heard a dude on the radio, comes out to Seattle. Titanic. Girl was engaged to Billy Zane. And then you get to Pretty Woman, which she's an actual whore in the movie. Like, it's not even a metaphor. She's a real whore. So this is a joke I started doing about 2 years ago, and then I've polished it, worked it out, this and that. So that's the joke. That's the gist of it. Obviously, I'm not performing it, but that's the gist of it.
Why not?
Yeah. So now, as far as where this is, I'll tell you where I think you heard it, and then do you want me to say how this all came about that I found out about this?
Both.
Okay. Well.
And let me say this before
Sure.
you continue. I don't know this guy.
I don't either.
I have no axe to grind. This is very much done in the vein of Joe Rogan and Mencia. I just we comics work hard at our jokes and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And when you're at me and Jay's fame level, which is basically no fame, there's really not a lot of recourse outside of physical violence, and that you can't do that,
right?
Because then you get banned from the club, and Jay literally could kill somebody. So this is really the only forum to express what you need to. So
yeah, so I'll tell you where this may have been heard. So the joke, it won Joke of the Week on Rooftop Comedy. That was on their front page for a week or something like that. That was the joke I actually closed on when I auditioned at the Laugh Factory and got passed by Jamie Masada. It was also the joke I won March Comedy Madness when I came down here, and that was the joke I closed on in March Comedy Madness. So, I mean, not that I have any level of fame, but I'm kind of known for that joke, so to speak. So he could have seen it at any of those places. I performed it at the Laugh Factory where this guy performed it, and now I'll tell you how this even came about or how I found out about this. This was in January. I was in Seattle, and I'm not going to name the person that sent me the video out of respect for them.
yeah, we'll just say Comic X.
Yeah, male or female Comic X. But I was in Seattle. I was doing Tacoma Comedy Club. I was headlining there for a weekend, and I get a message on Facebook that Comic X says to me, "Hey, I need your number ASAP." So I replied on Facebook with my phone number, and immediately I got a text saying, "Hey, this comic is doing your joke verbatim," and they sent me the video of him doing my joke. And not only was he doing my joke, he's doing like my voice inflections. So I showed it to the manager at Tacoma Comedy Club, who was like, "Holy shit, that's fucking ridiculous." So the person that sent it to me, Comic X or whatever, I told him, I was like, "I'm emailing this guy right now," and that comic requested I didn't because they were under the impression that this guy would figure out who had sent it. So I said, "Okay, out of respect for you, I won't, I'll figure out what I want to do." And I won't say anything. Did you want to jump in with something? Oh.
Well, no, I mean, but this is the problem I'm trying to like educate the non-comedy people. This is why joke thieving goes on, is even when you have video proof of it being done, you're afraid to expose this person because you don't want to out who's helping you expose this person. You don't know who this person knows, if they're friends with Comic A and... So
even we talked about this before me coming on here, like jokingly, but you never know. Like I was like, me saying all this, which is stupid because I'm not in the wrong in this. But me even saying this I don't know if this fucks me somehow on something. Who knows? But you know what? I take that risk for you, Earl.
Well, I need the ratings because I'm starting to figure out that people might not want to hear an interview with me interviewing the third bass player from Trickster. In 2015.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
But I'm doing the podcast is chugging along, and I'm trying to get. I mean, this is a fascinating subject, and it kind of is similar with the Rogan Mencia thing, because even though Rogan might have, you could say, gone about it in a different way. He was not the bad guy in that. He outed a joke thief.
But then he got fucked.
But that's what I'm saying. He presented his case, and some people might say could have been presented off stage or differently, and the club and the same agency that they were repped by took the joke thief's side.
Right.
So, and I think when people like you and I have a situation, it's like, well, if they fucked with Joe Rogan, what are they going to do to Jay or Earl or anybody? So, continue.
Yeah, so, and that's another thing, too, is, like, I still have never talked to this guy, so, I mean, that goes through my head, too, if I'm being a douche by not addressing it with him. But then, well, I'll tell you what, so what's happened since then. I know I'm bouncing all over the place. So, I got this video, and I sent this to a person that is in at the Laugh Factory, because this occurred, this comic did my joke at the Laugh Factory. So I sent it.
In Hollywood.
Yes, Hollywood Laugh Factory. So I sent the video to a pretty established, pretty well-known comic that's good friends with me, or friends with, that's the right word, me. That's in at the Laugh Factory. I sent it to him, and I was like, hey, do you know this person? Because he's in at the Laugh Factory. His first response, because he knows my joke, his first response was, holy shit, that's straight thievery. What are you going to do? And I was in Seattle, and I said, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So he responded, he said, well, either talk to Jamie or kick his ass. And I'm like,
you can't do either.
Right. That's why I said, well, I don't know Jamie like that to just go, hey, Jamie, can I talk to you? And I'm not going to go up and just fucking clock some guy. So this comic said, well, send me the info and I'll talk to Jamie on your behalf, which was very nice. So I sent him the video of this guy doing my joke and the links to me doing the joke 2 years ago, etc. And so from my understanding, Jamie talked to the guy, but the guy's in pretty good there. And like a week after supposedly Jamie talked to him, his name was on the marquee at the Laugh Factory.
Well, welcome to Hollywood,
baby. So, I don't know. I mean, it's such a, it would be one thing if they're like people listening to this, or that know comedy, well, there's always parallel thinking, or there could be parallel thinking, but this was like him not only doing my joke, but doing my voice inflection, doing the listing of the movies in the order I'm doing it, pointing out that it's awful. And did you see it? Did I send it to you?
You might have.
Okay.
And I also have the, I was heavily involved in the taking down of another joke.
Yes. Have you ever talked about that on this?
I think maybe once or twice, a comic was stealing, and not just stealing, but like
a dead person.
Jay's situation. Not just stealing, but doing Mitch Mulaney's voice and inflections,
right,
and body movements, and let's just say he's not stealing jokes anymore.
Yeah. Whatever happened with that guy?
I literally, the last I've seen from him was that night where we took him down, and I guess he threatened Carlos Herrera and Eric Gruber, who were it was their show where this happened. With I'm going to get you guys banned from the business and all that stuff, and it's pretty hard to ban guys in the business who aren't in the business.
Yeah.
But Carlos has got some things cooking, and Gruber, Carlos, got some pilots and stuff happening. So, and Gruber's one of the funniest dudes ever. So, I don't know what happened to him. He basically got banished from the business, which is how it should be. So. Have you had any direct communique with this guy?
No, I have not.
And we won't say his. I guess. I mean, if you want to say his name, you can. It's no sweat off my back.
I know. Well, that's what I was wondering. Should I, or
Well, here's the thing, and I will tell you before you do say his name. He'll probably hear this, and he's more than welcome to come on the show to get his side out. I don't know this guy, but I want to be fair to him. So as long as I would have him on this show, name him.
So his name is Tehran.
Like the city Tehran?
I believe so.
Is it spelled Tehran?
Correct.
Wow, that's crazy. That's like me being named Afghanistan.
Or Kentucky.
Yeah, well, same difference.
And again, I haven't talked to the guy, and all I know is, so while this was going on from Seattle, I tweeted out, just being a smartass, I go, "Hey guys, there's somebody in LA right now doing one of my jokes verbatim. I've made it." And just being just fucking around. Well, as soon as I tweeted that out, I had about 50 comics hit me up. Who? So I just sent them the video, and all these guys knew my joke, and so all of them were replying with like, "Holy shit, dude!" And then I've heard from a few different people that. Again, this guy, he can't. I don't know why I'm like trying to worry about him in this situation, but I mean, he's not here to defend himself. But I mean, I've heard from multiple people that he doesn't really give a shit about comedy as much as acting. I've heard that he's a known joke thief.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah. But this is my only knowledge of anything, and again, it's not a parallel thing. It's verbatim my shit, and my voice inflection and all that.
Well, I mean. Tehran, if you're out there, I'd love to have you on. Get the numbers up, and then maybe have a 3-parter with you guys on this couch together.
Oh, great! And we could show both the videos.
I wish you might have to go on Red Band's podcast to have video footage. We here at Inappropriate Earl, we are set up for audio only. And for those of you complaining about no video, I tell you what, I'll make you a deal.
Suck it.
You go to Amazon. I'll give you my password, and you buy the video equipment and cables. You come to my house. You set up the video stuff, and we'll have video. So,
Basically, you want an intern.
No, I want someone to pay for this stuff. These people in this podcast will complain constantly. One guy said I don't ask tough enough questions.
Oh, shit. So what's your tough question here?
Well, I mean, I think most people wouldn't be even talking about this. I mean, I have no. I'm only at the Laugh Factory when Rob Schneider has me on his show, so it's not like I'm not gonna get less spots by. And we're not blaming the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
We are.
I mean, and let me say this too. I mean, I don't know because I wasn't there, but from what I understand. Like I mentioned, the comic that is friends with me, the headliner who emailed Jamie.
This guy's a big comics.
Yes,
big.
Yeah, and he's very in at the Laugh Factory, and he's been great with me. Very very nice to me and helpful, etc. But what's been relayed to me is that he was talked to. Jamie did talk to him, but I don't know what that means in the long run. I mean,
probably nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, if his name was on the marquee the next week, I don't know if the message got through to either side. If he's a draw, which I can't believe he is, because I've never really heard of him. As long as you put butts in seats.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, dude. And you were talking about people at our level. Your level right now is my goal.
Well, you need new goals, buddy. It's like this comic last night at the store was, he's like a younger comic. He came up to me and said, "Earl, you're my comedy idol." I'm like, you better reevaluate, son. Cause,
He was like, you and Carrot Top.
I should be no one's idol. I mean, I've worked hard,
Yeah.
but so did ditch diggers. But
Ditch what?
ditch diggers.
Oh, okay.
Diggers. I don't say the N-word in public. Although I did laugh about 150 times in Django Unchained.
Jesus.
I'd hate to see him chained, but that's a whole different story. But let's get back to joke thieving.
Okay.
I mean, it's I don't know what can come of this for you. I mean, now he's probably done the joke so many times, people think it's his joke. In L.A.
Yeah, from my understanding, I don't know if that was his first time doing it or what, but it was. I mean, it was. Not only was the person that sent me the video immediately knew that's Jay's joke, but I guess also one of the people that works there at the Laugh Factory who had seen me do it was like, "Oh yeah, that is Jay's joke. What's he doing?" And I always try and give people the benefit of the doubt. Like when I lived in Seattle, there was a comic that was doing. He was doing street jokes. He was doing other comics jokes. And
Can I ask, are his initials RK?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, who's RK?
It's a very famous.
In Seattle?
Yeah. I think from what I understand, he got.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
And who actually, I'll be honest with you, I have. I was friends with the guy. I had no idea what he was doing up in Seattle, but apparently it was other people's material.
That's what I heard too.
Great, really funny guy to do shitty gigs with. Like he'd get drunk and he'd host shows and he'd like, I don't know, he's a pretty funny dude. But.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But no, it was a younger comic and he was doing street jokes like literally he would be on stage doing a joke and I would Google the joke and I would show my buddy like just pages of this joke that it's a street joke. Or my whole point is this: I try and give people the benefit of the doubt. So
I don't.
This guy, I emailed him on Facebook. I didn't call him out or I didn't fucking wasn't aggressive or anything like that. I go again trying to give the benefit of the doubt. I go, hey, I don't know if you know or not, but this joke you do here, this is a street joke. Here's a link to all the pages of it. This joke you do here, this is Rex Navarrete's joke. Here, this joke you do here, this is Joe Coy's joke. And I had links to every one of these jokes. And so, he came back with, oh, I didn't know, or I got this joke from a friend told me I should do this. And I'm like, look, I'm just letting you know so you can either stop doing it or you will keep doing it. And I don't know what's happened with that, but the guy was getting gigs off of jokes that weren't his.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, I had a guy once right before I go on stage say, hey, Earl, I got this great joke for you. It's totally in your style. And it's, there's those bumper stickers that say God is not the answer. But it is if what's dog spelled backwards.
Okay.
So not the greatest.
Yeah,
joke,
no, I got you.
I do the joke because I actually thought it was pretty funny. As soon as I get off stage, this guy's like, "That's my joke." So and it was probably.
Wait, was it somebody on the show?
Yeah. So my friend gave me someone else's joke who was like going on after me, and so
Jesus
I felt like
Christ.
an idiot. And
how'd you get out of that?
I told him, hey man, Dixon gave me that joke 10 minutes ago, said it was original, and we squashed it out.
Yeah.
And, the guy whose joke it was, he wasn't really a serious comic, so I still felt bad, but
yeah. I mean, and I've had that where parallel thinking or whatever. There was a joke I did. There was a girl I know, and she showed me a video of her sister that was being messed with by these two gay guys that were friends with her. And she was just going, I can't. So I did this joke at an open mic. Luckily, it was the first time I ever did it. I was at this open mic and I did it. And I asked my buddy Ken Garr, who runs the open mic at the Ice House, I go, hey, did you see the new thing I did? And he goes, yeah. I go, what'd you think? And he goes, it was great, especially when Chris D'Elia did it. I go, oh, Chris has that joke. He gives, yeah, it's almost verbatim. So I was like, all right, good enough. And then next time I saw Chris, I was like, hey, I guess I did one of your jokes at an open mic, didn't even know it. And but I mean, as soon as he let me know.
Say?
Oh no, Chris was totally cool. He didn't really care.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, he's always been nice to me.
Yeah.
So, was one of the first people to congratulate me on something good that happened to me recently. So
getting passed, or
yeah. So
was I up there also as one of the first?
No, it was Esther and Chris D'Elia. So and then that was about it, I guess. Actually, welcome to LA comedy, all you fucking people.
I fucking congratulated
I know.
you. Yeah,
about 10 people did. The rest are haters. Sorry,
Ditch
kids.
diggers.
It's what happens when you do comedy for 15 years and something good finally fucking happens to you. Sorry it didn't happen to you or you 2-year and under jack-offs. So I'm fired up today. So,
Yeah, fucking easy there.
I don't really care.
Put your shirt
anymore.
back on.
Well, I can't because it's cold.
What?
By the way, the LA Kings said no trades today. They picked up Andre Sekera Friday, which will, by the time this podcast airs, will be 2-week-old news. So, we're doing it right here at the Skakel compound. I would release this podcast today, but we had a great one last night with one of the LA rock legends, DJ Will, that I got to give it some space to breathe.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, your listenership is going to take a dump once you post this.
You can't dump what's already dumped. So what happens if you see this dude? Are you going to go out of your way to perform at the Laugh Factory?
Well, I got my first booking. I got past there, and I got my first booking.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I got my first booking from it just recently for St. Paddy's Day, of course, Big Irish J. So I'm looking for that. I mean, I don't, it's like I've gone through my head all the different scenarios. Do I email a guy?
You might want to before this airs.
Do I email him? Do I go up there and see if he's still doing the joke? Do I just take people's, the word for it that he's been spoken to and it's not going to happen again? I don't know. And, and then the other thing too is it's like in the LA comedy scene, I'm a fucking nobody. So in the grand scheme of things, what's the positive that's going to come out of it? Like if I go up there and he says, "Hey, go fuck yourself," and then I get heated, and then there's something happens. I don't know what, but it just escalates from there. Is that the best route? I don't know, dude. I've like I said, I've gone through 18 different scenarios in my head on what to do, or let it go at this point. It's supposedly dealt with, or what? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I would say if this happened at the Comedy Store, physical violence might be the way in. But no, I'm just kidding. But the Laugh Factory, the Improv, Ice House, Hermosa, they're pretty corporate. So I don't think physical violence would be the answer. Unfortunately, probably wouldn't be at the Comedy Store either. But the Comedy Store is a little more outlaw.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying it would come to that. I don't know how the guy might tell me to go fuck myself and that it was just parallel thinking, or who knows? Or he may just be like, hey, you know what? I don't know what the guy would say. Maybe he says, I don't know, something happened, or it just came out. Sorry, it will never happen again. And I'll be like, oh, fuck, now I feel like an asshole. I have no idea, but it's not a parallel thinking thing. I know that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, last Monday night at the store, I heard one of my jokes done word for word.
Shut the fuck up.
And it's not the greatest joke, but I know this person has seen me do the joke, and it's just a play on words about an action movie and the cast. And
did you talk to the person?
It just wasn't in me. I mean, it's
you fucking cock. So I'm on here.
I'm protected at the store.
You fuck. Why don't you name them?
I can't.
Oh, you piece of shit.
I can't do it, but it's not. If it was one of my closers or. I mean, I could see parallel thinking on this joke, but it's such a specific movie and a specific reference about the joke.
What's the joke?
I can't say because it'll
what
give.
What the fuck?
We here at the skate, we try and there's no spend zone here. And, Brian Williams was not the person who did the joke, but it's not the first time at the store.
I don't. They might have changed the podcast to hypocritical, Earl.
Well, I'm just trying to keep it real. I want people to kind of maybe tweet me, DM me, and I'll DM you the guy's name. But I'll put it this way: I joke about a specific time frame. Mainly, I mean, I got a few '90s jokes I'll throw out there for the new kids. But when you hear a joke done about a particular '80s movie and the cast, it's I don't know if you could say parallel thinking was involved here.
It was Gary Goldman and his Karate Kid movie bit. Oh,
well, I do have a Karate Kid joke, but I don't think it's the same as Gary's. Although I don't know what Gary's is. So, I mean, I also have a joke about the great beach volleyball movie Side Out. With C. Thomas Howell and Peter Horton having some very homoerotic undertones. and kind of like Star Wars on the beach. You know, Peter Horton was the Yoda figure, and
Okay.
C. Thomas Howell was the young Jedi beach volleyball player, and Terry Kaiser, the guy who was Weekend at Bernie's, he was Bernie, was like the the Darth Vader.
Jesus Christ.
And Apollo Creed's trainer, Tony Burton, was in the movie too as the black bartender, and you've never seen a black bartender before in a movie, so they were doing it right, side out. So it would be like if this joke I'm referencing last week would be like if someone did a side out joke.
Yeah.
It's like
Who else but Earl does side out jokes?
nobody, which is
Right.
why I, after 15 years of comedy, am a complete unknown. But I just didn't have the. If it was like a joke I was planning on doing on TV or something,
Right.
I'd be like, hey, man, it's kind of my
Holy
joke.
shit, you're getting on TV?
No, I'm not,
Oh, okay.
actually. Well, you never know. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll get on Comics Leashed. I mean, I think not doing that show is actually more of the credit. Hey, Earl, I hear you like hockey. I mean, the worst setups are on that show.
Dude.
But I would love to be on.
I know, exactly. I saw a buddy of mine. I went to his filming or shooting of it, whatever you call it, and I'm just sitting there in the audience, and it's not even subtle like the setup. It's not even like worked into like the middle of a conversation. It's literally, oh, so I hear you like hockey, go, and then you just go, and then you get done. So I hear you like this Karate Kid, go. I was just like, holy shit, this is how they do it.
Well, I used to live in a building where Byron Allen's mom lived, and I saw him in the lobby once. He's like, yeah, Bob. I said, hey, Mr. Allen, I'm a big fan of Real People, and like people forget he was on that show.
Right.
We were talking, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm just bummed out. My show's not doing well in the ratings. I'm like, well, dude, first of all, this is when he had a show on Channel 7 at literally 4 a.m. on Sunday nights.
Jesus.
Like, it was on after the Skippy Lowe show, which is a legendary public access show in L.A. I'm like, well, dude, first of all, time slot's not the greatest, to be completely honest with you. And second of all, you're interviewing, like, the seventh cast member from, spinoff shows. So, it's not like you're interviewing D'Elia or Whitney Cummings, and now these comics he has on now, he's having, like, Bruce's opener. So,
Yeah. You know his story? Like the story behind him?
Behind Comics Unleashed? Or
Behind Byron Allen.
I mean, I just knew him from that show, Real People.
It was actually, he talked about it at my buddy's filming of that. It's a pretty cool story. I guess his mom worked for the Tonight Show, and he, like, after they would shoot, Johnny would let him as a kid sit behind the desk, and he always wanted to have a talk show. That was like his dream. And so now, and he's fucking rich. All that shit, he owns all that shit.
Oh yeah, man.
He produces it himself, all that.
People make fun of him like me, and it's like he's almost like the comic version of Kiss.
Yeah.
People kind of make fun of Kiss, and their music sucks, and they're just wearing the makeup and the bombs and the stage shit to cover up with how bad of musicians they are, and it's like that may or may not be true, but they've been around 40 years making money when these bands who overtook them in the 90s for a brief period are they're playing fucking state fairs going on after Quiet Riot.
Right.
It's not even Quiet Riot anymore. It's like the drummer and three dudes.
Oh.
So
Who's your favorite like 80s band?
I mean, many Inappropriate Earl listeners know my heart bleeds rat and roll red, but they're so I don't know what the word is, disenfranchised with each other that they're probably the singer who's been a guest on this podcast. And
really?
I had name dropped the great Stephen Piercy, who by the way is the only sponsor of Inappropriate Earl, Stephen Piercy's Mike Knuckles.
I was going to ask you, why the fuck don't I have those?
Well, you can. I offer them to guests, but most people aren't really they don't know what the purpose of them is, and there's really no purpose. It's just to look cool and different.
Looks great.
And this is the Vinnie Vincent model, which is pink with some diamond. No, they're probably not diamonds, given what I paid for them, which was free. Silver diamond-esque
rhinestones
at the top. So if you're a stand-up comic, if you're a musician out there, these are pretty cool. If you go on at Mike Knuckles on Twitter, there's like 50 different designs. But
do you now go on stage with that?
I would love to. I haven't, I think my next...
You should take it up to the Comedy Store.
I think my next spot at the Comedy Store, I will debut at Mike Knuckles just for fun. I try and stand out. I take a cue in marketing from my 80s metal bands, and Kiss. Kiss probably wasn't the greatest musical act in their era or any era, but they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I try and I don't want to kind of be like Carrot Top necessarily, but I think comics or audiences would remember me if I went on stage with Mike Knuckles.
Oh yeah.
Or leather pants, or whatever.
Or pull your dick out like you did at the theater.
I've done that before.
Yeah. Or show your asshole.
Well, yeah, but that was on a non-video podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be different, man. You know how it is. You're a big guy. You wear plaid. I mean, well, you're lucky in the sense of your sheer size. People are going to remember you.
6'8".
6'8" and 300?
I wish. God. I'm probably like 375.
But you're not fat, though.
No, I'm fat, but I wear it well.
I guess you'd be fat if you were 6 feet, 370.
No, I'm fat. I'm
I
fat.
don't think so.
Well, I appreciate that. That's nice, but
you're a big guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're not anorexic by any stretch.
Yeah.
But in my case, I'm kind of a generic-looking dude.
Oh, Earl, don't say that.
But I mean, generic and listen, the worst.
I love your genetics.
Well, I mean, a lot of girls in this business do too. But if there was a Yelp review for sexual, if they had a Yelp or a Zagat's guide for unknown comics.
What was that second one? Zagat.
Zagat's.
Oh, with a Z.
The restaurant. Restaurant review guide in L.A. I guess I don't know if they have them in other cities, but I'm working on a Zagat's guide for female comics looking to sleep with other male comics. Let's just say I'd have a lot of 4-star reviews.
What would you call it if it was male comics looking for other male comics to sleep with?
Faggots.
Okay, there you go.
Or if you're looking to go both ways, whatever you're into. I mean, and I'm also writing a book, how to be sexually aggressive up at the Comedy Store and go unnoticed. That's going to be a paperback out probably by the time my first HBO special airs. So, in other words, it's probably never going to be released.
How many listeners do you get on this?
Well, I still, to this day, 55 episodes in, have not figured out a way to track on iTunes. But I know on SoundCloud, I would say each episode gets about 1,000 downloads.
Nice.
I mean, it's when you put it into perspective of, I think Rogan gets like 40,000 downloads a week or something. So that's like,
Yeah.
But for me, I'm happy with what it does. And like the 80s guest, I have like the guy from Rat. He's at almost 4,000. And Tawny Katane's almost at 4,000.
Tanya Katane.
Yeah. Oh, she was awesome. She was amazing. Still looks great. And, Bobby Brown, whose book is in front of you, she's at like almost 3,000. So
wow.
I did. I think I told you this before. I started this to interview my friends and have situations like talk about important things in LA comedy, and I guess joke thieving is comedy in general.
Right.
But the numbers do indicate that if you can get somewhat of a celebrity guest on, it does help out.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, my whole goal is to have people, I mean, there's, how many podcasts there are out there, and they see Tawny Katane's picture and go, oh, that's that girl from the Whitesnake videos. I'll listen to this guy's podcast. So David Arquette was, another great guest, and I try and ask these celebrity guests questions they haven't been asked before, which is tough, especially if you're from the 80s or 90s. Bobby Brown's been asked, tell us about the cherry pie video. He tells about Tommy Lee and Leonardo DiCaprio and, the guy from Rat, Stephen Pearcy, he's been asked about, hey, how did you form Rat? It's like, so I dug deep with these guys, and I try and ask guys like you, but similar type questions. But since I'm trying to expose you to the world, I have to ask the same, not generic questions, but it's like joke thieving is it's an awful thing. So.
Now, how would you, in the same scenario, let's say it's one of your best jokes or your closer, and somebody sends you a video of somebody doing it at the store,
If it was a joke I really cared about, and it was like my closer, or
we won't say the store because you're pretty in at the store.
Yeah, but what's that matter though? I mean, it was done last week.
Well, but
I'm a very vindictive person, so I hold grudges. I literally haven't talked to people who didn't return my call. But I'm a big respect guy.
Right.
I think we've talked about this before. I might be the most well-liked guy in LA comedy. Not my comedy, but I've tried to model myself after Brody Stevens. Like, Brody can walk into any room and do it.
Yeah.
He can go into an alt room and do well. He can go into the Comedy Store, which is almost you could say an alt room into of itself, because it's kind of just a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
And he can go in the Improv, and so I've tried to get along with everyone. And but if a similar situation happened, I would call on my A-list comedy friends and take this person down.
Now, is that sincere?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. And when you say take them down, in what sense? Like, what would be your process? So let's say you got a video. It's at the Improv.
I have a joke. Let me say, I think everyone knows probably one of my, if not my best joke, is about a Sons of Anarchy audition and that I had. And long story short, I talk about being called in to play white supremacist number 9. I go into the audition room. It's 2 people in the room. Kurt Sutter, the creator of the show, Billy Brown, the only black actor of the show. I said, we got to ask you a couple questions. Would you shave your head? Would you get tattoos? And then the last question was, are you comfortable saying the N-word on camera? And I'm like, and get paid? Because I've been saying that word for free my whole life. If someone did that joke, I would call Russell Peters, Rob Schneider, several people in authority in the world of comedy, and I would say, hey man, this ain't right. I need your help. And I'm completely powerless.
Right, yeah, like me.
Yeah, I mean, who?
Yeah. Like, this guy has 2 shows. Two shows. I think a week at there.
Yeah, so it's like, although I'm very well liked in this business and whatnot.
I don't even have that going for me.
You do, though. I mean, it would be like if I moved to Seattle, people would like me, but it would be like, who are you?
Right.
You just got to be out here a little while longer and all that stuff. And so I like to, I'm a weird guy. It's like when I play hockey, I'm all about mind games when it comes to stuff like this. Like, you would think the typical reaction would be to confront them, punch them, cause a scene. I'm all about mental warfare. And, like when I play hockey and someone slashes me, I don't slash them back right away. What I do is I'll line up right next to them the rest of the game. And is he going to do it now? Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll wait 3 games. Maybe I'll wait 5 games. Maybe I'll wait 2 years. Maybe I'll wait 5 years. But I tell you, every person who's ever wronged me has got what's coming to them. And, that's... I wouldn't do it. I mean, I'm a very direct person. But I in this case, I would... handle it in a. I like to make the pain and torture prolonged.
Interesting.
So. But everyone's different.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan handled it completely different way, and it wasn't even his joke; it was his friend's
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
So what you gotta, I love him for that.
I do too.
And he stands up for the little people like us. And he probably knew going in the way he was going to handle it. What was not going to be going over well with industry types and whatnot, and he still did it. So. That's why, I just love his. I try to pattern myself after him from his honesty perspective.
Yeah.
Like if you watch, I'm a big UFC guy, and
right, me too.
Recently, Anderson Silva got popped for like 2 or 3 different steroids, and he had a great podcast about about the subject, and he came out and. One of his guests, I think it was Eddie Bravo, said, "Well, what about Fedor? Do you think he was ever on anything?" And Joe, he didn't necessarily say he was, but he said, "Look at the size of him in some of those earlier fights." And Fedor's like, in the MMA world, he is like untouchable in terms of saying anything bad. But Joe was like, look at those pictures. Yeah.
Plus, also when he had his friend Brandon Schwab.
Yeah,
that's like, dude, that was fucking
heavy.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to respect. I mean, he's looking out for his friend.
I just love honest people.
Yeah.
And what Jay is talking about is Brendan Schaub is great heavyweight in the UFC, but he's lost a couple fights pretty decisively. And his last fight, he took a pretty severe beating. And Joe basically told him.
Brandon asked for it. You should mention that. Brandon asked his assessment.
Yeah. And when you ask Joe Rogan for an assessment, he's going to give you the straight. And Joe basically said, "You're not good enough to compete against the top guys."
Yeah.
And it's like, can you imagine telling a guy whose dream and current dream is to be the UFC champ and
that'd be basically Joe's telling him, that he's done.
Yeah, where most people would have been like, "Oh yeah, you just got to work a little harder." And, L.A. comedy in general, they're all full of shit. Tell you a great set when they weren't even in the fucking room.
Yeah.
Hey, man, love that new joke, and you didn't even do the joke.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me the other night. Hey, man, I love that Sons of Anarchy joke. I didn't do it tonight.
And he was like, "No, there was another guy doing it on stage."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it was great.
I'll see you on the red carpet at the production meeting. So, well, I hope your situation gets righted. I probably won't, to be honest with you. But
I mean, honestly, if he was talked to and he's not doing it any longer, then great. I mean, and as long as none of my other jokes get stolen, then great. But who knows if he's doing somebody else's? That's their thing to worry about, I guess. But I don't know. Fuck, it's a weird thing.
Well, it's frustrating because it's.
And the other thing too is like I have to. I'm sure you do too, because you're not as tall as me, but you're fucking yoked. It's like I have to be conscientious that I'm a fucking huge dude, and I can come off intimidating. Even if I'm not trying to. Like even if I want to talk to somebody, if I'm being direct or something with somebody, it can come off as like, Jesus, dude, because I'm fucking 6'8",
I mean, you're like pro wrestler. You're like I'm trying to think. You're like Big John Studd.
Fuck yeah, Big J Stud.
Yeah, Big J Stud. And by the way, Monday Night Raw is coming on in 13 minutes. But by the time this airs, it'll be in about 140 hours old. So which reminds me and my friend. Rikishi was just nominated into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
He was for it. I was against it. And we got in this really heated argument. Then I stopped because I'm like, we're arguing about who should get into a phony Hall of Fame. Like how there's a Hall of Fame for pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Which is probably someone's bet. I mean, this is, can give the audience an insight into parallel thinking. I'm sure I'm not the first person to say, what's with the WWE Hall of Fame? I mean,
Couldn't you say the same about Oscars? Academy Awards.
Oh, tons of Oscars jokes, and I mean, it's ISIS jokes. I've heard a ton of similar ISIS jokes. You know, I'm gonna watch RuPaul's Drag Race tonight. I'm sure. I'm not the only straight comic watching that show, doing jokes about it.
Or masturbate.
Well, some of those chicks, man. I mean, where do you go to the Comedy Store tonight? The Ann Daz, the site of the Ann Daz is it's an Equinox ad that has a dude, I guess a drag queen, but you wouldn't know this was a drag queen. I mean, it's they have her or him dressed up like a dude, but with like a female face.
Right.
But I guess if you can't show nipple if you're a girl, so it's a dude. Because it shows nipple. He's got like a Don Johnson jacket on, and I mean, welcome to Hollywood. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only comic making jokes about that billboard.
Right.
So that's parallel thinking.
Right.
But in Jay's case, I mean, when you're ripping off the words, the
how you're saying it, the
how
voice
you're saying
inflection,
it,
all that shit.
any act outs, it's just thievery. So, which is like, in the world of stand-up comedy, would you say joke thieving is literally like being labeled a child molester in prison?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't like for anybody to do it. I can't imagine to consciously go, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna fucking do that joke. Like how you get your mind around that to. I mean, in my opinion, you aren't a comic. If that can come into your mind and you act on that, then you're not a comic, because a comic knows how much fucking blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, that we put into a joke. You get a premise and you fucking eat shit with it. You eat shit with it. You eat shit. You change a word here, then it's getting a little bit better, and you fucking work it out over months and months to where you finally polish this thing up to it's a nice diamond, and then somebody just comes along and goes, thanks for doing all that work. I'm going to go fucking use that now.
Well, that's why I try and do jokes about topics nobody gives a shit about. So then that way they're even harder to steal. Not that people consider me such a great joke writer, they're going to steal my bits, but, that's why I do jokes about, like, Baby Godzilla, which is still to this day, I think, the finest joke I've ever written in my life. But
what is it?
It never gets a laugh.
Ever. What is it?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the movie Son of Godzilla, and if you've ever seen them, it's made me cry. I still literally cry at the end of this movie every day. If it aired right now on my TV, I would cry at the end.
Really?
Essentially, it's Godzilla as a kid, and the whole movie, he's like training the kid to be like him, and the kid can't do it. And there's this great scene where Godzilla's teaching him how to breathe fire.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, I remember this.
And the little kid, who kind of looks like an open micer, big fucking belly, bug-eyed, short, he's trying, and he only can blow out little smoke rings.
Yep.
And then Godzilla gets pissed and hits him over the head with his tail, and a full-on fire comes out. Godzilla, very abusive father, Joe Jackson style, and so I kind of basically do what I did, and then I'm like, but that's not the weirdest thing to me about Godzilla is how big was Mrs. Godzilla's pussy? Because Baby Godzilla came out of that thing, and Godzilla went into that thing. And I swear to God, to this day, no one ever laughs at that joke. I mean, never.
Well, I thought Godzilla was a woman.
Oh, well, in that case, the joke's definitely taken a turn. I thought he was a guy. I mean, you never saw his dick, but I mean, you never saw Chewbacca's dick either. So
true. I always thought Godzilla was a woman because of Baby Godzilla.
See, I thought he was the father.
I thought it.
Well, the mother left town.
Fucking breaking news here on Inappropriate Earl. You have to look it up.
Tweet at Godzilla and of course tag Inappropriate Earl so I get the traction. And this will be the first ever poll done on Inappropriate Earl. Let's get Inappropriate Earl trending, along with Big Irish J and myself. I thought Godzilla was a guy, so
I thought honestly, growing up, and it's so funny because I know exactly what movie you're talking about. I remember the little baby Godzilla going and like little fucking the little smoke rings coming out.
And finally Godzilla just says fuck it,
Yeah.
kid, and hits him over the head. And
Yeah, I thought Godzilla was a boy until that, and then I was like, oh, Godzilla, that's the mom.
But then at the end of the movie, Godzilla's fighting, I think, a couple different monsters, and the kid's trying to help, and one of the monsters throws the kid to the side, and Godzilla ends up winning. And the end, I'm telling you, this is the saddest fucking ending to a movie I've ever seen in my life. And goddamn, I wish Red Band was here to like pull up the video. That's the great thing about doing Red Band's Ice House Chronicles is you talk about something, he's instantly got it on screen. Is baby Godzilla and Godzilla are in the sun, or no, in the snow. I'm sorry, sleeping, and it's really starting to come down like a not a hurricane, but a snowstorm, blizzard, and they just walk off, and it's just goddamn.
It fucking gets you every time.
There's two movies that make me cry whenever I see them. Well, actually, 3 movies, and we'll get into what movies make you cry, other than my audition reel. That scene in Son of Godzilla, the end of Brian's song.
Oh God, yeah.
Where they show Billy D. Williams and James Caan jogging in the park, and I think it is Jack Warden, if I'm not mistaken, doing the voiceover of at the end. It's just great monologue. Brian died of cancer, but let's not remember him how he died, but truly how he lived. And they show it's just great, the visual of them running in the park, the voiceover, and then for some reason I always cry at the end of The Negotiator. It's a great movie that kind of went under the radar. Where
is that Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, he plays the negotiator, and Samuel Jackson plays this cop who everyone thinks he was stealing. And at the end, he shoots Samuel Jackson to draw out the bad guys, and the instrumental montage they do as this is all going down is just something about it. So, what is there a movie that makes you cry?
It's so funny because I do a joke now. I mean, this is a joke that leads up to The Notebook, where I talk about I'm getting older, and I think I'm going through menopause because fucking shit makes me tear up now that never did. But I got teary-eyed at the movie 42. Rudy always fucking gets me when he gets that third letter that he can finally get into Notre Dame. Mine are mainly fucking sports movies. I fucking got emotional. And I do a joke about this too, about a goddamn Guinness commercial, the wheelchair Guinness commercial. Have you seen that one?
Is
the
it
wheelchair.
Recent?
It's probably about a year old now. The wheelchair basketball one.
I don't recall.
It's fucking basically. There's no advertisement in this commercial. It starts out and this camera comes into like an old high school gymnasium, and you see 6 wheelchair basketball dudes. They're playing hoop. They're bumping into each other. There's no talking, but there's like this breathy U2 singer, and then. At about the 30-second mark, again, there's no advertisement, 30-second mark, this voice comes on and it just goes, dedication. And you're like, okay, like they're dedicated to their, I don't know what that means. They're dedicated to basketball. Because you don't know what it is. I thought it was a commercial for the Special Olympics or something. Then the voice says, loyalty. And you're like, okay, like they're loyal to their team. Then one of the guys goes, you guys are getting better at this. And one of the other wheelchair basketball player guys goes, yeah, same time next week. And then all of them, except for one dude, stands up out of the wheelchair and then the voice comes on and it says, friendship. So these guys are fucking playing wheelchair basketball with their crippled buddy because they fucking love him. And then the very end scene is this guy's bringing 6 beers over to all of his buddies, and all of them are there, and the one guy is in the wheelchair still. And the voice goes, the choices we make reveal the true nature of our character. Guinness. I was like, fuck you, Guinness. It's so fucking emotional. It's like, geez. Or there's that other Guinness commercial of the military one with the fucking beer on the table. Have you seen that one? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, Guinness does these goddamn commercials. There's a bar. It's just somebody breaking in?
No, I was just making sure we're still recording.
It's just a bar. This lady's cleaning the bar, and there's a table. The bar will be busy, but there's one table, nobody's sitting at it, and she just puts a Guinness on the table. Fucking cleans, and she does that day after day after day. And people will try and sit there. She's like, no, you can't sit there. And then the last scene is her son comes home in full military gear, and he sits down, and the Guinness is waiting for him. And it's just like, fucking goosebumps,
No, I hear you, man. I can't think of any commercials that make me cry. I mean, every now. Well, actually, that one commercial with Sarah McLachlan when they show all the fucking jacked up dogs. And,
Yeah.
You know, they show like the Maltese with one eye, and you know, like the pit bull with the, three legs missing, and it's like I always wanted to do a video like that. Where you show like all these action stars from the 80s like stumbling out of auditions, and like, Jeff Speakman trying to get
holy shit, The Perfect Weapon.
Yeah, dude. I mean, trying to get like funding for The Perfect Weapon too.
What a reference. I got the power. Snap.
Yeah, I saw him once at the supermarket. I'm like, hey man, good work.
Really?
And he just kind of looked at me. It's almost about as bad as the time I saw the bad guy from Cobra.
Really?
And this guy, if you ever see Brian Johnson before, which is kind of funny because he's in a New York State Lottery commercial now. I'm probably the only one who recognized him, but he's got a very pronounced jawline. I don't know if it's a birth defect or like he doesn't have he's a good looking dude,
right?
But he is this really distinct bone structure. So I knew it was him right away, and I just walked up to him in the fruit section of Ralph's on Olympic. And I'm like, he kind of felt me coming, so he looked at me, and I just walked right up to him, and I'm nose to nose with him, and I'm like, "You won't do it, will you, pig? Even the law says I have rights." And then I did Stallone's line, which is, I don't do good impressions, so Stallone might sound just like me here, but I'm like, "This is where the law stops, and I start." Sucker. And then he threw him into the fucking fire pit. And he kind of laughed. I mean, I have the weird. I mean, it's L.A. I mean, every time I walk my dog Lois, I walk her to Crescent Heights, Santa Monica and Crescent Heights, which is a very historic intersection in the L.A. music community because there's a nightclub there. Used to be there called the Starwood, which was owned by the infamous Eddie Nash, who, if you've ever seen Boogie Nights, remember the scene where they robbed the Arab guy at the end?
Yeah.
That basically was Eddie Nash.
Holy shit.
Eddie Nash, just to give you an insight into his personality, I know this has nothing to do with
No, this is
Sebring,
interesting.
It's a great story. How they haven't made a documentary about Eddie Nash is unbelievable to me, because he gave Van Halen their start at his club, and Quiet Riot, huge band. It's funny, people forget how big Quiet Riot was.
Yeah.
They were at one point they were seen as Van Halen's main competition.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but
what about Cheap Trick?
Cheap Trick played the Starwood.
Really? I fucking love Cheap Trick.
They should be much bigger. They're like the there's a lot of guys like this in comedy where you like there is a dude in Northern California. Legendary Northern California comic called Larry Bubbles Brown.
All right.
Have you ever heard of him?
No. Do you know about Bob Marley, comedian Bob Marley?
Oh my God, very similar. Not acts, but very like Bubbles Brown is just he's amazing.
Right.
But he little, and I love him. I don't think he would mind me saying this. Probably a little sour on the business.
Right.
And that's a guy who could have been Kramer times 100. I mean,
right.
Because he was a comic too, so he had the chops. But Cheap Trick is like that.
Right.
And
right.
Bob Marley is a great comic headliner, but like still maybe not known.
Yeah. What's crazy is he is to New England what Gabriel Iglesias is to L.A.
Yeah.
Like he's not on TV a lot. He was in the movie Boondock Saints as Detective Greenlee. But he's a fucking amazing. He holds the world record. You know that? For longest stand-up. He beat Dave Chappelle. He did, I think it was 48 hours of continuous stand-up. But here's what's nuts, is he did not repeat a joke for 17 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I would repeat it after 17 minutes.
yeah.
I would do the Sons of Anarchy joke on loop. I would just keep doing that joke. I don't know who would want to do comedy that long, to be honest with you. But I know Dane Cook started it with, I think 6 hours, and then Dave Chappelle did like 7.
Yeah, and then there's some dude in Europe, I think. There's some European comic. But yeah, I think Bob Marley's the one that holds the record right now.
I have no. To me, that's just Jack. I know Bob's
an
amazing
I know,
dude.
yeah.
I mean, he once, when I was kind of first starting out, complimented me at the Laugh Factory of all places.
Ah.
And, he didn't have to, say anything to me.
I think also when he did it, there was some charity stuff involved with it too.
I mean, that's different. But I think Dane and Dave were like, no, I don't know. I have no inside knowledge, but it was like, what? I'm going to outdo you. And it's like, who wants to do? I mean, I tap out at about an hour. Right.
And I totally cut off your story though about that guy.
The guy from Cobra?
No. The guy that started the Wood Star.
Eddie Nash. So he was incredibly influential in the L.A. scene. And he's kind of comedy related. He owned the building where Jimmy Kimmel is done.
Oh wow.
He basically, and this is for all you comics out there who get discouraged. He came out here from Palestine, literally started a hot dog stand, and do drugs dealings and whatnot. Owned like 7 or 8 nightclubs, gay clubs, straight clubs, and he was a weird guy. He was involved in the John Holmes murders. John Holmes set him up, had his friends steal all his coke and cash. So Eddie Nash found out about this, that John Holmes ratted him out. So he had John Holmes go with his 4 hoods and get back the drugs and cash and kill everyone in the house. So he's a very badass guy, scumbag.
All this is confirmed?
Oh, all this is well known. It's if you've ever seen the Val Kilmer movie Wonderland.
Oh.
Val Kilmer playing John Holmes, and I think Eric Bogosian was Eddie Nash. And
interesting.
Probably my favorite Eddie Nash story is he was just a deviant, bad person, but he was a big coke dealer. Probably at the late 70s, early 80s, the number 1 coke dealer on the West Coast, and he knew girls liked coke. He would never charge them for it. What he would do, he just had a real sick sense of humor. He would take these huge, greasy shits. He wouldn't wipe his ass.
Oh.
And he would have girls over and be like, hey, you want that powder? You got to lick me clean.
Oh, God.
So that's the kind of guy that I admire. He knew what he wanted from these twats. And look for the Eddie Nash story starring Earl Skakel as Eddie Nash, and we'll do a casting. Maybe we'll just do a table read here one night. So I don't know what the hell that had to do with comedy, but
it's interesting. Now I want to go look up this guy.
Oh, he's just I guess he's just such a.
Is he still alive?
No, he died I think of cancer a couple years ago, but he was just such a. And what he did when he had
colon cancer.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the minimum, the colon cancer. He had John Holmes put his hand in blood at the murder scene and put it against one of the people's bedstands, so his handprint would be at the murder. He really wanted to fuck over John Holmes.
What the fuck? And why would John Holmes do it?
Well, because Eddie Nash was. You think some of these comedy club owners are tough? Eddie Nash would have killed him.
Jesus Christ!
And then that was John. So you've got the John Holmes thing in there, and it's just so many characters in the 70s and 80s, and
that should be a movie.
I don't know if it's a marketable movie just on this crazy Israeli or Palestinian club owner, but he was into anything that made money. Like he had an underage club. Called the Odyssey, which is really sad. It's on Beverly and La Cienega, and it's now a gas station. But underage kids were there, or under 18. It was like that kind of a nightclub, and I guess the city was after him, for the neighbors were complaining about sex and drugs and the lawns, and so he just threw a Molotov cocktail in the building and just torched the place. And like another nightclub, he did the same thing. It's just there's no characters like that anymore.
Yeah, no shit.
So, and people think comics. You're lucky Eddie Nash wasn't running potluck tonight at the store. You'd have to lick his ass or something. I'd do it for 3 minutes, But luckily Adam Egypt, doesn't subscribe to the Eddie Nash way of favors. And that's not me kissing Adam's ass, by the way.
No, I know.
So we'll get you in there, dude. I'm trying. It's tough. You got to
I
have
know.
connections. I mean,
Yeah,
LA
no, I get
comedy
it.
is so fucking tough. You got to have connections just to get on Potluck.
No, I know. My whole thing isn't. Whatever, however long it takes, and paying your dues, I get all that. My thing is, I just want to make sure I'm on the right path. You know what I mean? Like, am I taking the right steps, or am I doing shit that is gonna do nothing for me? You know what I mean?
Well, you're well liked. That's half the battle, but then the other half is schmoozing and ass kissing and what I call being a real palmer, which
Yeah.
is pressing flesh, shaking hands, acting like you give a shit, and
By the way, this podcast is great, dude.
I mean, that's a good start, and
Thanks for having me on.
well, I'm getting to the point now where people are asking to be on it.
That's great, dude.
I mean, I'm trying, man. I mean,
I can say I got in before the big influx of.
oh yeah. I mean, I certainly the world doesn't need another talk show, but
It needs more Earl, though.
well, it's a grassroots campaign. I mean, I think it's a slow build. Very slow, but it's I'm learning. I don't know about you, but I've been doing comedy 15 years. 15 years, brother.
In L.A.
In LA, which is probably the equivalent of 30
Yeah.
years anywhere else, with the amount of bullshit I got to go through. I feel I'm on the right path. I just enjoy doing it.
Right.
I'm not in it for the money or the fame. I mean, why do you do comedy?
Like my ideal scenario would be similar to like what Bill Burr has, as far as like, touring, doing A rooms. You get some acting gigs here and there where it's not a real stretch for him. Why do I do it though? I love the science of comedy. I like making a point. I like taking the opposite view on the popular point and trying to, even if somebody doesn't necessarily agree with my point of view, if I can make them laugh at it, that's pretty satisfying.
Well, that won't get you far in this business.
Yeah, no shit.
You better get in it for the money. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I mean that's there's no rhyme or reason why people make it, and
Yeah.
it's a lot kind of like pro wrestling, actually, which is on my TV
Yeah.
right now in muted form. By the way, his dick pic is unbelievable. Seth Rollins.
Is that him
That's
right
Seth
there?
Rollins right there. I saw his dick pic, and it might rival mine.
Yeah,
So-
but does he walk around showing people at the Universal Bar and Grill?
Did I do it there too?
Yeah. Yeah, you were like, hey, is this a good headshot?
Well, I told you the David Spade story.
I don't know if you did.
Well, I'm up. I at the Comedy Store anyway. Just I'm what you call, I guess, a late night comic, but
Right.
I think Adam sometimes likes to test me and go, okay, I know you can go on late night and do the '80s metal jokes, and you're all women are cunts chunk, but I want to put you on first, see what you can do.
Right.
Crowd's cold, and you got to work for their approval. And I did it, and it worked out all right. And I got to bring up Argus Hamilton. It was like, you talk about a legend in the LA comedy scene.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in comedy in general, I mean, most Tonight Show appearances ever. I think he,
It's crazy.
to this day, holds the record for like most development deals ever had.
Jesus, I didn't know
Not
that.
they keep records. of
No,
that,
but I know
but,
what you mean.
It's certainly just Argus Hamilton's just an amazing icon. And so I do my set, bring up Argus. Adam's in the hallway with David Spade and two ladies. And Adam was like, hey, David, this is Earl Skakel. He was in Benchwarmers too, so this is kind of like a Benchwarmers reunion. And Earl, why don't you show David your new headshot? And I was in such a good mood because the set went better than I thought that I'm like, okay. And David walks over and shakes my hand. And I'm like, listen, Dave, I'm a struggling comic. I'm not really an actor, but I'm trying to, make some inroads in that, and I'm really dragging it out. And I'm just struggling, man. And I know you work a lot, and you know a lot of people in this business, and I respect your opinion. And just literally giving them a 5-minute build,
Right.
And I just took some headshots, and I don't know. I just, like I said, I know A-list photographers, and if you don't like these pictures, maybe you could, I don't know, recommend them recommend me to them, or I'm just trying
God.
to make it, man. And so I pull up my dick pic, which is really unbelievable. It is a great fucking picture. It's just the lighting, the photography, the angle.
The dick.
My abs look shredded.
The dick.
The dick. And I show him my dick pic, and he literally grabs my phone out of my hand and goes, Jesus Christ, is that you? Like, no, I'm going to Photoshop someone else's dick on my phone. I showed it to 4 black guys the other night at the store, and they looked at me and go, you're one of us. So... But I know we got to get going to the Comedy Store. It's 5:13. I know this started out talking about joke thievery and comedy and shenanigan and schmoozing.
Covered a lot.
Well, I don't. And this is one of the complaints I get about this podcast is there's no format. Honestly, when you walked into the door, I knew we were going to lead off with the joke thief stuff, but I don't plan these podcasts because I want it to be.
You're like Bruce Lee. You're formless like water.
It's like in the Enter the Dragon when he gets on the boat the first time and that white Irish fighter's like, he wanted to fight him.
Right.
He's being an alpha male. And he's like, what's your style? And Bruce Lee's like, my style? You might say it's the art of fighting without fighting. And that's my comedy, the art of comedy without doing comedy. And my podcast style is just to have friends over like Jay, who's one of my good friends. We met, I told this story in your podcast. Yeah. And by the way, you're Dean Del Rey was like my mentor in terms of, the equipment and his format. I did a few episodes with him and, learned a lot from him. And when you came over, I was like, okay, this is doable.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to be with my friends, and
we want to be with you, Earl.
Well, I like what Rogan does. He has his friends on. He has his famous friends, but he has friends, who you might not know. And I love that. And he talks about not just UFC things, which,
Dude, I've learned a shit ton of stuff about drugs and all that shit from listening to his stuff. I mean, you would think that... just listening, like you said, you would think it's all going to be UFCs, but that podcast goes into so many different avenues. It's so interesting the shit he covers.
Well, he goes into like Skull and Bones.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love it.
Bohemian Grove, the Illuminati.
That's great.
Martians and it's tough for me because whenever I see him at the Comedy Store, I want to talk about the UFC with him, but then I'm like, he probably doesn't want to do that when he's not working. So it's. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, as you know, Jay. I've never portrayed myself to be a scientist. So I don't know if I would have a lot in common with Joe talking about Martians and moonbeams. But, I'd like to talk to him about who's testing positive.
I'm sure he'd tell you.
He probably would. He's so fucking honest, he probably would. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, what phony wrestler's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame next. I mean, I guess you would get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame if you're alive.
Yeah.
I mean, just based on your...
Is Bret the Hitman Hart in it?
He should be.
Or is he banned?
I think since they killed his brother, that might be some awkward vibes between them. I know, I think Macho Man's in this year, which is weird because it's always been rumored that the reason he wasn't in was that he had some kind of a sexual interaction with Stephanie McMahon as a teenager.
Oh, shit.
And, of course, I'm excited because, and maybe this is a good way to, kind of wrap it up because it's semi-topical, but I'm excited because my favorite all-time wrestler, the great Steve Borden, known otherwise as Sting...
Is that you? That's your all-time favorite?
Absolutely.
Mine's Rowdy Roddy.
Oh, Rowdy Piper's great.
Yeah.
But I guess Sting is, he's never been in a WWE ring before. Well, he has now, but I mean, he was like the only guy to basically stick it to McMahon and say, listen, I'm a reborn Christian. I'm not into this fucking, bra and panties matches and Mark Henry having sex with Mae Young
Right.
and a hand coming out, which was the greatest sketch ever. And I mean, like, did you see that sketch?
I think was it May was the old lady.
Yeah, and Mark Henry was sexual chocolate, and they had it in the storyline that she conceived a baby through fucking this, 600-pound just behemoth black dude. And so they're in the skit, Mae Young's got her legs spread with the pregnancy towel around her, and they got this guy who looks like a doctor who's probably a fucking plumber who's just a SAG eligible actor, and like there's people gathering around the opening where her legs are spread, and the doctor goes, "Oh my God!" and he reaches in there and he pulls it out, and there's all this gunk on his hand, like in Aliens,
right?
And he pulls out, and it's just a hand. And,
fuck!
I mean, it was, just greatness. But Sting probably saw that and was like,
right?
I'm not. No, I'm good. So he's back and he's wrestling at WrestleMania with Triple H. So Roddy Piper's awesome though. He's a paid regular at the Comedy Store, and he's a great guy. So this is the part, Jay, where we. I guess you plug your websites, Twitter, and please, for my listening audience, you got to spell out everything.
All right.
So Twitter.
Everything is Big Irish, BIGIRISHJAY. Big Irish J. That's my Twitter. That's my website. That's Instagram, Facebook. I got a podcast, the Hollings Worthless Podcast, which is kind of like this. It's which is also in the vein of like, You Know What Dude podcast, Robert Kelly's. It's, you talk about whatever you want to talk about, just friends. And I'll be in Kentucky end of this month at the Laughing Derby.
Yeah, with headlining.
Yeah.
And how do now? And this is for like almost an educational part for comics listening. How did you get to headline that gig?
So the person that books, he books Tacoma Comedy Club, books a few other clubs, Laughing Derby. I think Morty's in Indianapolis, a few different ones. It's a few people that I think book it together, but I've headlined the other clubs, and they like me for whatever reason, and so they booked me for a weekend there.
Morty's Comedy Club in Indianapolis. I featured there in 2006 for the great Robert Duchesne, and then I think the guy who booked me got fired for embezzling money. So
Jesus,
it's crazy the people that we work with, and the just the freaks in this business.
Yeah,
and I mean L.A. comedy in general is like literally the bar in Star Wars. It's just every fucking unsavory character you can imagine wants to do stand-up comedy, and I think they see Last Comic Standing and go, "Oh, just 2 minutes stand-up."
Oh God, dude,
I'm in.
I know.
So follow Irish J. He's truly one of the nicest dudes in comedy, not just L.A. comedy, but comedy in general. And I've met thousands.
Appreciate that, Earl.
And this guy, you're going to see big things from him. I mean, he's a really funny dude, and listen to his podcast. I had the honor of being a guest on it, and it is a lot like this. He just has his friends on, and
just interviewed Brian Moses.
Great dude, creator of the Roast Battle, along with several other people. I'm still not sure who created the show. I mean, I'm in the show, and
him and Rel Battle.
Him and Rel Battle and Jeffrey Ross. They will be at South by Southwest. Me and Whitney Rice, who is my partner in crime, during the Roast Battle. We will not be there, not from any tension, but just from just costing too much to get there. And we did the New York Comedy Festival, which was fun, and LA Riot Fest, which was fun, but comedy doesn't pay as well as you'd think.
Yeah.
So there's a misconception there that these comedy festivals just pay us all, and car services to and from the airport. We'd love to book you guys. We'll see you there. Well, you won't actually.
Yeah.
So, but if you're at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas in a couple weeks, please check out Roast Battle. It's the hottest show in LA stand-up. Year and a half, sold out room every Tuesday night in the Belly Room, around 11. Celebrity judges, Sarah Silverman, Bill Burr, Joe Rogan. Last week was Artie Lang. He was an awesome dude. And people like that. So, guys, once again, PayPal, eskakel@aol.com. And I'm not going to lie to you. The money's not going to go towards the podcast. It's going to go towards Daddy's Kiss CD collection because I need to get some new bootlegs. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to PayPal me any money. I'm so in the hole from doing this show that, here's my goal. I just want to lose more money in 2015 doing stand-up in the podcast. So I don't want any money. I'm doing a Kickstarter to give money to my listeners. So, you guys are great. The podcast can't go on without people listening to it, so we're stopping tonight. No, I'm just kidding. And, Irish J is a great man. Big Irish J. I don't know if there's an Irish J out there, but there's only one Big Irish J.
There's Big J Okerson.
Big J Okerson.
But I'm
who
Big
was,
Irish J.
One of the roasters at Roast Battle. He went against Ari Shafir.
Who won?
That's the beauty about Roast Battle is literally I couldn't tell you. 2 minutes after the roast battle's over, no one knows who won. Unless it was a really bad roast, then people are like, wow, that sucked. But I couldn't tell you who won last week.
Gotcha.
In New York was kind of a clusterfuck because it was like I remember Bonnie McFarlane and Mike Lawrence had a great one, and then
Bonnie lost that because she talked about it on the.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And me and Whitney are in a 600-person theater, sold out, probably 700 people in the theater, and we're on stage with a sign that says whites only. And people are like, we would do our lines, and usually we kill. And,
right.
And I never say I kill, but in the belly room, me and Whitney, I would say kill 70% of the time. The other 30%. Well, we might bomb 5% of the time. The other 25 we do well. You could tell who were the racist in New York because the same 12 people were laughing at every joke. This one guy in the front row was in tears. I'm like, well, I'll give you a pamphlet after. So check out Roast Battle. Brian Moses, great dude. Rel Battle, Jeff Ross. Sarah Silverman's awesome when she's judging. Burr's great. And, me and Big Irish J are on our way to the Comedy Store, which will mean nothing to you people because... we do the same thing every Monday night. So when this does air next Monday, go up to the Comedy Store if you're local. Tell them you know Big Earl. It helps if you go up there or call the Comedy Store and say, when's Earl performing again? I'm just trying to get some fucking traction, people. I don't ask anything from you people other than to listen and to make Daddy famous. Because I've held my head high. I've done everything for the kids. I've done everything for the charities. And the reception I get when I put out this podcast, you fans can stick it, brother. Because if it wasn't for Earl, see, I'm doing Hulk Hogan's speech at Bash at the Beach when he turned bad guy.
I'm with you.
That was like wrestling 9/11. I mean, when Hogan dropped that second leg on Savage, it was no worse than the second plane hitting the tower on 9/11. That's a good way to end the podcast. I'm sure we'll get some numbers in New York on that one. So, guys, you know where we're at, SoundCloud and iTunes. Leave a review. Please leave a review. It helps the more there are. It's my goal to get featured on iTunes at the end of the year, which would really help the numbers. That helps, right, Jay?
Absolutely.
Jay's texting his twats. He probably met at the Yoo-Hoo room he featured in for, fucking some jackal Saturday night. Now I'm turning on my guest. It's what they call a heel podcast.
You're pretty accurate.
So, there you go. Welcome to LA Comedy. I mean, I was dating a girl this whole year. I had all my friends texting her in the middle of the night. So check out my book collection. These people are animals in this business. So that's all right, though, because all you guys who are doing the texting, let me tell you something right now. I know who all of you are, and it's going to be a real head-turner when I call you out one day, brother, because you know what? I got more money than all of you. I got a fully paid-off car. I got a 3/4 paid-off condo in West Hollywood. You guys all love me, and I don't like any of you. So you can take that cell phone, you can take those texts, and you can stick it, brother.